Hey y'all, I look like a little baby. But this is the style I asked for. Hey y'all, what's going on? Just a quick video to let you guys know. I went ahead and got instant locked. I know it's controversial, but in my opinion, the lock community is crazy. I'll probably do a video about that in the future. But I've been around long enough to remember when getting your locks retwisted and or using products in your locks like what is it, like edge control was taboo, and all of these different things were taboo, and the Rasta said you shouldn't part it, and this and that and this and that, and you know so yes, I got instant locks. I am not ashamed. This is not my first time locking my hair, and I decided to skip all the drama other than people's judgment and opinions, which doesn't matter to me anyway. And I went ahead and got instant lock today. The groundbreaking part for me, so I had cut my last set of locks in 2019 February, actually Valentine's Day of 2019. I cut my last set of locks, and I've been loose natural in some form ever since. But I thought I was not going to lock my hair again, and for different reasons. One, because I just didn't want to fight and have that struggle of my hair not being fully locked and having to do all these different methods to try to get it to lock in certain places. My hair will not uniformly lock. I had so many challenges and drama. And lo and behold, there's this process that I never heard about that apparently has been popular, in that time frame, maybe even before, or during the last set of locks that I had, but I just wasn't aware of it, probably because I was already locked, or I just didn't know about it. But that you could get your hair locked instantly. I love that. I love that for me. I love that for us. But the next surprise that came, I was like, okay, being out of the lock game since 2019, my retwist and style at that time, I don't think I ever paid over $100. And I was probably tipping my stylist, right? Yeah, and then to come back and find out people were charging like $250 and up to start starter locks with coils, and retwists are like $100 to $200, like all of these outlandish prices. And then I was finding out more about the instant locking method, and I actually had one consultation with someone who said that she charged from $800 and up, and it was definitely a shock. It was definitely a sticker shock. The lock community has changed, honey. Like, it's always been, I guess, in my experience, and I'm over 40, right? I'm 42. So I've been through it all from the 90s when it was highly, highly socially unacceptable for the most part in the black community for someone to lock their hair. Shout out to my relative, like my cousin Michael. He's been started locks and been locked to this day. Down to the floor. They probably dragging past the floor at this point. I've seen that. I've seen where in college, like friends, classmates, they were like, well, that's been fun. I have to cut my locks now because I'm going into corporate America. And that was like in the early 2000s. That was pretty much common. Like you would see, it was an unfortunate thing that people had to accept. All kinds of things. Only putting aloe in your hair. The very first time I had my locks started, so if you're very young, you won't remember this, but they used to do like coils with black gel was a thing. And even people getting like retwists with black gel and beeswax and all these products that we say now are horrible for your hair. That was commonplace. And so sometimes people would wear like the little coils and wear that as a hairstyle. We're talking like 2001 to 2004-ish maybe, right? Or they would start your locks like that with no, like this whole idea of your grid, your pattern, whatever, what did they call it? Your foundation of your locks. And by this point, I was in DC, like I was in Chocolate City, right? So it's not like I was in East Bumblefuck, Reddit, whatever, where no one knew about locking hair. Like this was like the high level locking was like beeswax and black gel, right? And the alternative was then maybe using like aloe juice and beeswax. Right? So we've come a long way. We've come a really long way. And like I said, I think that this whole instant locking concept is awesome. I don't think that one form of locking your hair is more legitimate than the other, because I've seen so much the rise of free-forming, wicks being again, like, as locking your hair itself was becoming more acceptable in my lifetime, from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s. And now, like, wicks come onto the scene, or there's judgment between people who manicured. There was a term of like manicured locks, that being looked down upon. Palm roll or not palm roll, what products are acceptable, what kind of diet is acceptable for someone who has locked hair. And I hate to see like Gen Z arguing about whether or not someone's locks are legitimate because they got their hair locked in 5 hours, when I've seen this whole this whole saga of the natural hair, or the lock movement, throughout these decades. But that's not to say that, being locked is completely culturally acceptable and things like that. I know I saw a couple months ago in the news, I think it was right here in Texas, like, a young kid in high school had issues with his school. Either he might have been expelled or suspended or something stupid because of his lock. They said his hair was a distraction. So I get it. It's still political. It's still a serious issue. However, I don't derive my entire identity from having locks. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take you along on this journey with me. So come on and join. I'm very interested to see how the instant locking process goes, how it's different and how it's similar to locks that I've had in the past. So yeah, this is my third time locking my hair. I would say, like, there's been times that I attempted to lock my hair and didn't go through with it, but this is my third legit time, and now I'm already locked. Woohoo! So we don't even have to stress to go through the drama of wondering if I will let my hair lock. But I definitely want to go through this from the perspective of someone who got a little years on her, as I have my pigtails. I love this style though. One thing about me, like, I'm very young at heart. So I actually love that my stylist did this. What else can I say? Oh yes, the sticker shock. So much to my surprise, I was, considering, or it wasn't even considering, I knew I was going to lock my hair. Like, it was just that feeling, like I felt the call that I was going to lock my hair. It was just a question of who was going to do it. I know I wasn't going to do it myself because I'm obsessive about my parts. And I saw all these stylists saying they were charging $1,000, $800. This is, again, through my decades of life, there was, and hey, by no means, I don't think by being like natural or spiritual or whatever you want to call it, or just being the Loc Nation, I don't think that means you're supposed to be poor or impoverished by any means. And I get it. Like, the locticians are manifesting their fortune right now, but not with me, honey. Not with someone who just, I've started locks for $20 probably. And I've started locks for $75. Yes, that was a few years ago, but $1,200. And then I get to your salon and it's no. And I think a lot of that is based on, people mastering social media. And it's like, because I definitely noticed a trend of the more followers people had, the more they were charging for the starter locks. So literally, if someone had 5,000 followers, they might be charging like $600 for instant locks. And if they had 8,800 and so on, 56,000, they want 1,200. And so my hair was done immaculately. I love my stylist. I have a feeling I'm going to be with her for a very long time. Here in Houston, I got instant locked under $500. It was actually well under $500, but I don't want to, I'm not going to give out her information anyway. 1, because she didn't give me permission to. 2, because you're not going to drive up her price. 3, she's undercutting the market. And I love that for her because she's booked and busy, honey. And sometimes that's the way to go. Sorry if that's not spiritual enough for the lock community, but since we're running on capitalism now and some of y'all want $1,200 for Instant Locs, let's be capitalist then. And she's using it to her full advantage. And I love that. And I found my loctician, and I'll be back throughout my journey to talk to you guys about it. Oh, and before you say, oh, I bet something's wrong, I bet she didn't do it correctly, you're going to regret it. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. But some of you, because I've watched your videos, y'all paid $800, $1,000, $1,200 for your Instant Locs. And you're busted and disgusted. You had to comb them out. You cut them off. So who's really the fool in this beautiful, glorious, manifested, capitalist, spiritual, elitist lock community? I come to you with love and humility and a sense of humor about it all. So don't think that this is judgment. But join me on my lock journey. I will be back. Mwah! Love y'all. Peace.